Oh, hello. Happy New Year in 2025. Just made a couple mistakes in our latest newsletter there and was fixing it with some typing correction film. How many of you have ever heard of typing correction film? Who knew it even existed? It's so much easier to use than whiteout. Well, enough on that for today. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of things for the day. Well, as you can see, we've got a film theme going on here. So, what could today's episode of Is It Broke, Is It Fixable, or Just Plain Durable be about? Film in different forms. So stay tuned. As you can see, we have different kinds of films here. You have 16mm. These are all educational films, like science screen reports, and the one on air pollution is very interesting. It was actually a special done by ABC. It's got a catchy little theme song by the New Christie Minstrels on there. Though I've never finished it because I've never found the other part of it. And there's 8mm, which we don't have any 8mm films out here. And then there is also Filmstrips. How many of you remember Filmstrips in school? There's a reason we call them Filmstrips. They're actually on 35mm film. We used these in elementary school. We would fight over who got to run the projector. There's audio for the film strips, and some projectors actually had automatic on them, so when you went to run it, it would run it automatically so you didn't need the operator. Other ones would go bing, and then you would be the advancer to the next slide. It was quite fun, actually. We'll give you a demonstration on that later. So basically, you could say this was a very early form of educational PowerPoints before there were PowerPoints and projectors to do such. So these boxes would sit in a shelf in a library like so, just like books. This particular box has Moby Dick in it. Now, the company that made a lot of this stuff was the Society for Visual Education Incorporated. Another form of the earlier slides that weren't film strip was actually slides. Same principle as the film strip, except you're using slides. And in this case, instead of using a cassette, it uses a LP. SVE also made projectors for their equipment. The SVE Tri-Purpose Projector. Although I've never been able to figure out the third purpose of the projector. It acts as a slide projector, doing 2 slides at a time, and it also acts as a film strip projector. To run it as a film strip projector, you have to take a plate out. You take this plate out when you want to do slides, and then you put this in there. And slide it back and forth. Though I'm not doing a very good job of it right now. We used this a little while ago to watch some slides because The other slide projector, which used the carousel, that's the type that I just showed you, quit working, so then we had to individually do it. So with that, you slide it back and forth, and then you pull the slide out and put it in. But that alone in itself is tricky because you have to know which way to put the slide in, otherwise you're putting the slide in upside down. Slides, there isn't much to fixing. You just have to make sure that the sleeves on the slides actually stay nice. The slides are actually just a piece of this inside of a sleeve, because a film strip goes frame by frame. So right here where my fingers are is about one frame, so that would go inside a slide and then the sleeve would be glued around it. These film strips are getting harder to come by because since the technology is old, many programs and schools that used such film strips just threw them away, which is kind of sad. Our local high school had an entire wall on the bookshelves of film strips, and they had one on the history of jazz that was very informative and very good. They also had one on the history of rock and roll, but never got to watch that one. And like I said, they all got thrown away. And now to find said film strip, like the one on the history of jazz, it's pretty hard to even find them online. I'm sure there is some catalog, and I did find it on eBay once a long time ago, though they wanted too much for it. So, you are watching a film. This one happens to be the Space Shuttle, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And you're watching it, and all of a sudden, your film goes clink, and then the spool starts going whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And you're thinking, oh no, what do I do? Well, we're going to show you what you do on how to splice film. It's actually quite simple, and it doesn't really seem to affect the audio on the film. Here we have a handy dandy editor for 8 and 16 millimeter, or maybe just 8. But what's neat about this particular editor is on the back it actually has a film splicer in it. Different companies made film splicers. This one was by Callard, Kodak. Griswold was another big name. Their splicers, you may even find them in theaters. They're like very heavy cast iron, like very heavy duty. This particular splicer is for 8 millimeter. This, however, is not 8 millimeter. This is 16 millimeter. So we will get the Kodak one. Many thanks to Mr. Lombard, who was our audio-visual teacher in high school, for teaching me how to splice film. So, as you can see, you have plates here. You have this thing. This here acts to roughen the film up, which I will show you. So we lift open both compartments. You put the film on there. You want to make sure that you have a straight, flush cut. So that's why we open the compartment, and then we push that one down through there, and then that gives us a straight cut. So then we close that. You want to make sure that the film overlaps. I'm not used to doing this in reverse. So we take this and you roughen the film up a bit. And then you get out your film cement, brush the film cement like so on the film, and push down. Unfortunately, this one didn't stick because of not using the sandpaper. Roughing it up with this doesn't always do good enough of a job. So we will try again. What we're doing is making the film slightly abrasive so that the glue will stick. And then let's give it a check. Haha, yay! It worked! So, in a little bit, we'll put this in the projector and we'll see if our job works or not. No wonder people prefer to use the splicing tape. It's kind of an easy peasy compared to doing it this way. And if you don't do it enough, then you forget it. It really makes you appreciate those master editors in Hollywood from back in the day with doing their wipes and everything else, because all of that was done with editing the film by splicing, etc. Kodak actually made their own projector, the Kodascope. And this is said projector. Came in a fancy case with the speaker and everything. And what was very nifty, I've never seen this before, is it actually creates a table to put the projector on. How about that? That's quite handy instead of having to use the spiral or the adjuster on the projector to go up and down. The wonders of ingenuity. These are also very important on these earlier projectors. The diagram telling you how to actually thread the film. A Victor projector, you also need the diagram because it's completely different than later projectors where it's fairly easy. Now I'll show you how to load this. So you stick the film in the take-up spool. You open this up and your take-up sprocket is down here. You have to make sure that it's in there, and then you close that and you start advancing. And every tick you hear should be a frame. Now with this particular projector, it doesn't really have an adjust, so you have to open it up and just slowly adjust it to get it right with the frame so that when you go click click that it goes to the correct spot. Some people will actually take the film and run it the whole way through and then just rewind it with their hands. We don't have sound to this film strip, so we're going to play a game of TV-GBs and make up our own quality audio to it. copyright as read there is 1950, 60, 70, 86. Bing! Why, hello, Piglet. Bing! What are you up to today? Bing! Don't peek. Bing! Oh, I wonder what's in this bag. Bing! Oh dear, Pooh, it says don't peek. We shouldn't look. Bing! Though I am hungry. Bing! Don't peek. Bing! Piglet, should we open it or not? Bing! I don't know, Pooh, maybe we should. Bing! Let's take it with us. What do you have there, buddy boy? Merp, merp. Looks like it's time to go to school. Bing. A nice pot of honey. Bing. Big boy, how are you today? Bing. Pooh, you have quite a ton of honey there. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Bing. I'm Rabbit. It's time to go to school. Bing. Pooh, will you share some of your honey? Oh, possibly, Tigger. It seems to be getting empty. I need a more empty. Oh, bother. Say, Pooh, isn't that enough for the day? Hello, Tigger. How are you, Piglet? How are you today? I'm just bouncy, says Tigger. Let's all go for a walk. A walk, a walk. Back to the school bus. Pooh, it's a school bus. Just another day. Going to school. How are you today, Mr. Owl? Don't think I'll learn much today. Oh, yes, you will. You're... Say, buddy boy! Pooh Bear's pot is full again. Pooh, what are you gonna do with that whole pot of honey? Ooh, I'm not quite sure, Eeyore. Maybe I'll share it. Really, Pooh? Oh dear. Merp, merp. Merp, merp. Merp, merp. Remember, kids, you must always stop for the flashing red lights on the stop sign on the bus. Really? Yes, indeed. All aboard! Looks like we're on our way now. Everybody settle down back there. This This is how we properly sit in a school bus seat. That's all, folks. Now begins the process of rewinding the film. It's a bit of a job. This projector is old enough that it doesn't have a fan for the bulb, so eventually that will weaken the bulb. You should run it and then let the fan run with the bulb off for a while to cool the bulb. You have to get the film small enough that it'll go into the canister. And there you have it. If you don't get it right, you see what the sprocket does to the film. And when running 16mm, when you're dealing with these older films, these sprocket holes can get brittle. Even with this 35mm, when you're trying to feed it through an auto feed projector and you come across sprocket holes that are broken, it doesn't like them real well when you're trying to load it. You just run it through like so. It's got a path to follow here. It's quite easy compared to, like, say, that Kodascope projector. However, you do run into a problem, at least with the Bell & Howell later Filmosound models, where you might actually have to rip off the cover and do some self-threading. But they're auto. This is a self-thread. The Bell & Howells use an auto thread. There is sound to this film, but the exciter lamp that runs the sound is finicky on this projector. However, we can see that our splice has worked. I think it's safe to say that the splice worked just fine. The projectors use an exciter lamp to run the sound off of a 16mm film off of the sound strip. This one may need a new exciter lamp, I'm not quite certain. This episode has been a true troubleshooting episode, relearning how to splice film, the film strip projector being a little ornery. This projector needs a good cleaning and servicing. However, the episode was about splicing film and the splice did work. Hope you've enjoyed. Toodaloo.